Great news, everybody! Democracy just kicked in!
So it's over? That seems unlikely.
Amazing! There was only one man in the world with a vision to predict something like this. Damn!
Laura! Laura! Laura!
Yeah, you remember when the left pretended to be anti-war? Turns out they were only pro-power. So, in his Obama is becoming quite the public figure again. The machines did the killing. Obama awkwardly defends drone kill list in new memoir. Former President Barack Obama still can't shake his legacy as the drone president, given he still holds the record for number of ordered covert assassination strikes via drones. There were 10 times more airstrikes in the covert war on terror during President Barack Obama's presidency than under his predecessor, George W. Bush, one prior human rights study found. 10 times more airstrikes. And what about Trump? He just ended our war in Somalia. Most Americans didn't know we had that. He's pulling troops out of Syria, and his own military personnel there are lying to him, telling him more troops have come home than are actually stationed over there. Still think there's not a deep state? They have been sabotaging President Trump every step of the way because he is anti-war. Because he actually has taken steps to draw down troops. Obama just got in office and realized, oh, I don't actually run the show. Just make me look like Martin Luther King. I want a good legacy. Well, this is your legacy there, buddy. Obama embraced the U.S. drone program, overseeing more strikes in his first year than Bush carried out during his entire presidency. A total of 563 strikes, largely by drones, targeted Pakistan, Somalia, Yemen during Obama's 2 terms, compared to 57 under Bush. The infamously included not only killing of Yemeni American citizen Anwar al-Awlaki due to his suspected al-Qaeda links, but also his son, 16-year-old U.S. citizen and Colorado native Abdullah Rahman Anwar al-Awlaki by a drone airstrike ordered by Obama on October 14, 2011. The boy was not even suspected of a crime upon his death, while he had been casually eating dinner with his friends in a cafe at Yemen. See, you millennials that support Biden because Trump is a dictator, you forget what these Obama years were like. You forget what it was like watching these Air Force guys with PTSD talking about the heat signatures of the people they droned and watch them go from red to blue to black as they bled out. You forgot what this nonstop endless war was because you were little kids. Vaush, the online communist, was like 12 years old when Obama took office. Maybe if you knew the greater context, you wouldn't be a commie. If you're old enough, you remember this stuff. You remember how bad the Obama-Biden years were. And it's like, this is why people were pro-Trump, because Trump is anti-war. Trump's been nominated for 3 Nobel Peace Prize, and of course that after he had been president, not before he even took office. So under Obama, estimates of the number of victims that were a result of White House's secretive kill lists often ranged from 300 to over 500 civilians killed, including over 60 children. Just looked like Obama's attempt to build a sentence that says everything except the simple reality of, quote, I killed them. And Phil McKay cites, the machinery had me killing them. Yeah, it wasn't Obama's policy. It's kind of like gun control nuts that are like, we ought to get rid of the guns. The guns make people violent. And it's like, the gun is a machine. The machines only do the will of man. Just as those drones don't do anything if the president doesn't order them to be used. This from Obama's memoir is pretty pathetic from a president who, for example, slashed economic assistance to Iraq and then ramped up military involvement while lying about it. Obama says, quote, "In places like Yemen and Afghanistan, Pakistan and Iraq, the lives of millions of young men, like those 3 dead Somalis, some of them boys really, since the oldest private was believed to be 19, had been warped and stunted by desperation, ignorance, dreams of religious glory, the violence of their surroundings, or the schemes of older men. I wanted somehow to save them, send them to school, give them a trade, drain them of that hate that had been filling their heads, and yet the world they were a part of, and the machinery I commanded, more often, had me killing them instead." Imagine how insane this would sound if he weren't a president. If it was just a guy. I wanted to send them to school. I wanted to make them happy and love, but instead I murdered them. This is madness, and the left fully endorses and embraces this. They voted for more of it. The hippies in California and the junkies in Washington State, they're like, yeah, we want that. We don't like that Trump's withdrawing troops from these places. Give us more of this. Give us more of these madmen. Now, this is Obama's advisor, Robert Gibbs, when asked point blank about the ordered killings of a 16-year-old American citizen. His response was he should have had a more responsible father.
4 years ago.
You said it's important for the president, to do what needs to be done in terms of members of al-Qaeda and people who pose a threat. Do you think that the killing of Anwar al-Awlaki's 16-year-old son, who is an American citizen, is justifiable?
I'm not going to get into Anwar al-Awlaki's son. I know that Anwar al-Awlaki renounced his citizenship.
His son was still an American citizen.
Did great harm to people in this country and was a regional al-Qaeda commander, hoping to inflict harm and destruction on people that share his religion and others in this country. And
that's an American citizen that's being targeted without due process of law, without trial, and he's underage. He's a minor.
I would suggest that you should have a far more responsible father if they're truly concerned about the well-being of their children.
He didn't have a responsible enough father. Well, what's next? Trump supporting conservatives? Here he is. Obama's justification for mass murder is the machines did it, not me. Here's the boy. This is an American citizen. Oh yeah, totally dangerous. But it's the right wingers that are so violent and evil. Let's not forget that Obama was awarded the 2009 Nobel Peace Prize and is still heralded by the left as the most enlightened leader this country has ever had. Don't believe me? Obama casually admits his drone strikes killed inordinate amount of innocent civilians. So he's doing a tour for a book, because apparently, I don't know, what's he live on, 50 acres right on the ocean isn't enough? If the global warming oceans rise 1 inch, his entire house is flooded. Here is social distancing with Stephen Colbert. Oh, yeah. Glad you're not going to get a mild flu. Obama admits that saying collateral damage is basically a nicer, sanitized way of saying it killed people who were innocent. Yeah, innocent people. And the left is absolutely okay with it. Glenn Greenwald says 2009 Nobel Peace Prize winner explains his preferences for how to kill people, falsely asserts that after some unspecified number of years of bombs falling on weddings and schools, that his conscience was activated and he imposed greater controls. Obama defends his drone strikes here, which killed hundreds of civilians. The problem with drone programs was not that it caused an inordinate amount of civilian casualties, although one casualty is tragic, but the drones probably had less collateral damage. Oh, see, he's still good. He's still a good guy. Here he is. Here he is with old Colbert.
with that.
Would you put the drone program into the thing that your Senator Barack Obama did not understand as well as President Barack Obama? Because that is something you got a lot of criticism over.
And the drone program, which I deal with more in the second volume, because what I actually discovered was that the concerns were both legitimate.
Bush was right,
but not always understood. The problem with the drone program was not that it caused an inordinate amount of civilian casualties,
which it did.
Although even one civilian casualty is tragic.
Oh, you got way more.
But it actually, the drones probably had less collateral damage, which is the antiseptic way of saying it killed people who were innocent and not just targets. Probably had fewer, less collateral damage than if you send in troops, for example, and you're in a firefight, or you're dropping ordnance using conventional pilots.
Why not just buy the oil?
The problem is that it starts giving you the illusion that it is not war.
The distance makes sterile.
Yes, and what I discovered, and I write about this in the second volume, the machinery of it started becoming too easy, and I had to actually impose internally a substantial set of reforms in the process.
You were afraid of the
to
deep
step
state.
back and remind everyone involved, this isn't target practice. There are each time we make this decision, we are engaged in the most profound act that any government can take, which is using lethal force against people, and that there have to be better checks and balances in doing it.
Can you, shut up?
Yeah. Yeah, you remember when old Colbert got his start? I remember when Jon Stewart took over for Craig Kilborn, and then guys like Colbert came on. These guys were fiercely anti-war. It's why I watched them. I thought, we're on the same page. Yeah, we don't like this war. Turns out, once we have power, you can justify. It's very complex, and there's a lot of reasons for it. And there's just some just this tap dancing, and the left is fine with it. So, in the end, Obama's book and interview remarks on drone strikes are full of cringeworthy levels of self-justification and rationalization for killing what many human rights studies have estimated are hundreds of people. And I guess the left, progressives, liberals have all decided George Bush was right after all.